Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. Today, we're doing an ESPN Fantasy Basketball mock draft. We're doing a 10-team head-to-head points mock here. I'm drafting from the third spot. I think it's pretty clear. Like, if you get to pick your draft spot, you kind of want to be in the top three. You're going to get rewarded with Nikola Jokic, Giannis, or Luka. So those, to me, are the clear kind of top three. Once you get to number four, it's kind of like, what do you like? You know, James Harden, Karl Anthony Towns, Bradley Beal, Damian Lillard. There's a lot of options when you get to that 4-5 spot. So I like getting into the top three. Assuming this goes as we're looking at it here, I'm probably just going to collect Luka as I did with the thumbnail there.
Welcome to the best day of the year.
Draft has officially started. Giannis and Jokic, of course, first two people off the board. We're just going to run Luka in, and then with a 10-team league, we have a good chance at getting some really good players to fall to us. There's kind of a drop-off near the third round in terms of talent here, but we'll see what happens. After I took Luka, you see James Harden go, Karl Anthony Towns, Bradley Beal, and then there's a couple auto picks here. We're still a couple weeks away from the NBA season, but I have a feeling people are going to start ramping up their basketball drafts. So I'm going to continue to do a handful of mock drafts here and try to get as many takes as I can. And we'll see what happens here. We're getting into the second round now. After Bradley Beal went 6th overall, Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, Steph Curry. There's Kevin Durant at 10 seems kind of interesting. Nikola Vucevic. I like Vucevic quite a bit. He was on a tear last year at the end of the season. Paul George, Zion Williamson here. So we're almost up to pick. We're up in a few picks here. The one that sticks out is Trae Young. If we can get Ice Trae here for us, that would be ideal. But you see he gets auto-picked there. So we missed out on Embiid, LeBron, Trae Young, De'Aaron Fox. This is kind of a tough situation here. But there's, a couple options. We already locked in a really good point guard. So if you're kind of trying to build a diverse portfolio of players here, I'm looking probably at Domantas Sabonis. And I'll look at his numbers in a second here. I'm going to lock in Sabonis. We're going to be up to pick right away with an auto-pick. So I'm going to let it run down. But Sabonis, the face of the Pacers at this point, I think it's a really good move to just lock in a stud power forward. He's going to be a household name this year, but just look at his numbers from last year. And if you play in a points league, you get a guy that's over 50 points. He's pretty much a stud. So I like locking in a power forward here. And then we're up to pick again, and this is where it gets a little difficult. Rudy Gobert, a fun center here. I kind of like the centers later. I do like getting guys with dual eligibility in terms of positions. I could take LaMelo Ball. Again, I already got a point guard here. I really don't know if I care too much about where my positions are at. SGA played really well last year. We haven't seen him, for the back half of the season, so he's kind of a fun pick here. Round 3, though, I'm just going to kind of have fun here. I'm going to go with I'll go with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, I know he's not a very safe player in terms of injury risk, but I know that when he's on the court, he's the best player on his team. He's going to be very productive, and I just think there's a lot of excitement around the Miami Heat this year, so I'll just land Jimmy Butler there. And again, he's small forward and shooting guard eligible, so I like some of the flexibility that he presents here. So we're moving into, I guess, pretty much the 4th round now. After I snagged, After I snagged Jimmy Butler, you see Rudy Gobert, LaMelo Ball, Dejounte Murray, SGA, Bam Adebayo, Ben Simmons. Who knows what's going on with Ben Simmons? I have no idea. Kyrie Irving, though, he's falling pretty late. He goes all the way at 3, pick 10. Michael Porter Jr., first pick of the 4th round. There's Drew Holiday, Chris Paul. There's getting to be – I really like the 4th round. I think the 3rd round, the decisions are kind of hard. But when you get to the 4th round, again, we're talking Drew Holiday, Chris Paul. I'm seeing Russell Westbrook here, Devin Booker, Chris Middleton, Christian Wood, Jaylen Brown. Like, there's a lot of hot names here in the 4th round. So just continue collecting your favorite players. And, to be honest, like, the NBA basketball – it's so deep, and especially with guys that kind of come out of nowhere. The 5th, 6th, and 7th, and 8th rounds, we're still going to hit some pretty good players. So I am up to pick right now. I just missed Russell Westbrook. He's probably one of my favorite Lakers that you can get right now. But anyways, we are on the clock here. Clint Capella, he had a really nice run with the Atlanta Hawks last year. Tobias Harris for Philly. I really like Chris Middleton. He's a really, really consistent player for me. He can probably lock in, upper 30s, almost 40 points per game. So I like getting Middleton. I think the Bucks are going to be on something to prove. Last year, he was one of the number one small forwards. So I'm going to lock in. Again, we got Jimmy Butler, and now we just locked in Chris Middleton. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. Other names here that I liked, Christian Wood, Lonzo Ball, Ja Morant would have been fun. I really like Karis LeVert. I don't know how he's doing. He's got a stress stress fracture in his back, but the Pacers are optimistic that he's dealing with only a minor setback and he may be ready to go sometime near the start of the season. So you might see a discount on Karis LeVert. He might be dropping a little bit in some drafts. So that one's interesting. But as I look forward to my 5th round pick, Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum, Colin Sexton, and again, a lot of these guys have dual eligibility, which I love to see. I really like Christian Wood quite a bit there. The young Houston Rockets team is going to be kind of the focal point of this offense, and everything that, anything that Houston does is going to run through him. He just needs to stay healthy. He was kind of in and out all last season. But we missed on Brandon Ingram, Clint Capella. There's Lonzo Ball. I think the easy pick for me, I kind of want to just collect John Morant here. This seems pretty foolish. And he was kind of hit or miss last year. He did put up some massive games. You see the 72, a 66. But then he would have a kind of a not so great game every now and then, a 26, a 21, some low floors. But McCollum is an interesting guy here. Let me just look at his numbers real quick. And again, he was hurt for a little bit during the middle of the season last year, but when he came back, man, I mean, he's a 40 to 50 point guy. And then he's only shooting guard eligible. John Morant only point guard eligible. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and lock in Christian Wood, getting one of the last best centers here. And then because he is dual eligible, I like getting him in the lineup. And just last year, Christian Wood averaged 21 points per game, almost 10 rebounds, almost 2 assists, basically 1 steal and 1 block per game. He was a very productive player when he was healthy on the floor for the young Houston Rockets team. So it's tough to pass on guys like McCollum and even John Morant. I'm surprised I passed on John Morant. I love it. But I don't know. We got a really good starting 5 so far. You see Luka, Middleton, Jimmy Butler, Sabonis, Christian Wood. And again, I'm having fun here. I'm not being too serious. This is a mock draft. You should be trying things with your mock draft, see how it feels to take certain players. CJ McCollum is falling here into the beginning of the 7th round or the beginning of the 6th round, which feels a little off. So that looks like a good hit. And now we're in the 6th and 7th round. I'm probably going to start looking at some second-year players. Like Anthony Edwards was a beast last year. Just the man can score the ball in a head-to-head points league. I would love to collect Anthony Edwards with my next pick if I can do that. Otherwise, Tyrese Halliburton had a really successful rookie year. He didn't get to finish it because of the injury, but I like where the Sacramento Kings are going right now. So we'll see. I got some fun picks. One of the guys that has been consistently falling to me in the 6th round is Draymond Green. And you look at what Draymond did. He's a potential double or triple double threat anytime he plays, and he put up some big number, like almost upwards of 50 to 60 points on a high end note. So I like Draymond Green, and I think getting excited about the Golden State Warriors is a good idea. But we missed on Draymond. That's a bummer. But we're going to just collect Anthony Edwards. This looks like a fun pick to me. We'll see who falls back to me. But getting the second-year player, just the man scores buckets. So I'm excited to collect him. And I don't know. We have 4 more starting positions to fill. I would love to collect Tyrese Halliburton. I think Robert Williams is going to be in for a fun season here. He did sign a large extension, it says. He's only 23 years old. And his problem last year, it wasn't production, it was just minutes. The man basically, however many minutes he got, he would get more points than that for fantasy. So he is a massive upside play here. If he gets, starter minutes upwards of 30 minutes per game, you're looking at a guy here in the 7th round, center and power forward here. I like a Robert Williams pick quite a bit. If you want to get the rookie Cade Cunningham, that's probably where you got to do it at the end of the 6th, early 7th round here. And I'm just kind of looking around. I mean, I like OG Anunoby, John Collins. There's some good value pieces here, but we're up to pick. I missed out on Robert Williams, Tyrese Halliburton, Derek White, Jalen Suggs. So if I wanted to go ahead and take the rookie here, I could take Cade Cunningham. I only have 1 point guard here at the moment right now. Maybe getting a guy like D'Angelo Russell, though, could be a good idea. He was pretty good last season with Minnesota Timberwolves. And when I take a guy like Russell, sure, I have to worry about health concerns, but it's his he finished the season really strong. He looked really good with Minnesota. I think I don't have to worry too much about with Cade. You have to be a little bit patient with some of these rookies, whereas locking in a dual eligible point guard, shooting guard in D'Angelo Russell, I'll just continue to take some veteran players here. And we already got a young guy in Anthony Edwards. We should probably get a little bit more young guys as the draft goes on. So far, so good. And I don't know, like you can keep scrolling down and keep finding names that you like. So I guess we're moving at the end of the 7th round, going into the 8th round. I'm just going to start kind of looking around here. Some high upside guys. I mean, OG Anunoby, I was on him last year. He had a really good season. He just got hurt at various times, but this was a guy that on most nights he would get you 40 points. So he's going to be a main starter piece for the Raptors. I think I like that pick if he falls, but it looks like we're almost up to pick. We're probably not going to get him because of the auto pick, so that's unfortunate. But let me continue to look around here, see if anybody else sticks out. Jaren Jackson Jr. People waited all season to get this guy in their lineups, and it wasn't until the final, last week or two where he started putting up 35, 40, 36, 28. I mean, this is a key piece of the Memphis Grizzlies, so I like him quite a bit. Again, dang it, we missed OG Anunoby by 1. Kristaps Porzingis. And again, health is the major thing with him. If you feel risky or if you've covered your bets early with center and power forward, you could take a guy like that. Darius Garland, though, I mean, this was a guy that played really well. And again, he got hurt at the end of the year. But when he was on the court, you see high 30s minutes, almost 40 minutes per game, and 48, 31, 44, 52, 45. There's some high upside, play there in Cleveland. So I'm going to take the minutes of Darius Garland. So we're locking in, again, another dual eligible player here, point guard and shooting guard. Our point guards right now are Luka, Russell, and Darius Garland. I like that group right there. We have a forward position and another utility spot to fill. We'll see who they kick back to me on the turn. I really liked RJ Barrett. I don't know why he's going so late. I know he kind of for some reason, he's not an exciting pick, but the man's going to play a ton of minutes. And I know, okay, so you get a 22, you get a 15 every now and then. But I value smart players. He's going to play a lot for the Knicks. The Knicks should be a good team again this year. So I like the upside of the young RJ Barrett. And then we'll see who falls. If Team G here takes my RJ Barrett, PJ Washington played pretty well last year. He just needs to get the minutes. Like, you look at his numbers, basically the last part of April and early May. You see some 47s, 32s, 44s, 50s, some really high caliber point games here. And then the minutes are nice too. I like getting guys that are going to be on the court a lot. That seems to be a fun pick. I really like Norman Powell. He's with the Trailblazers again this year. This is the guy that scores a lot of points, and he's a key piece of their offense. I just missed on RJ Barrett, unfortunately. So the guys that I'm looking at here, and again, I don't have to take a forward eligible player here, but I probably want to do that. So what I'm going to do here, again, I like Norman Powell. He's a small forward eligible. PJ Washington's a power forward eligible. I'm going to go ahead and collect PJ Washington. I like what he's got with the Charlotte Hornets. He should, again, continue to hit those mid to high 30 minutes per games. So again, we're moving into the 10th round. You could continue to take some high upside players, but again, I like taking guys with minutes, and I can even filter here and see who's playing the most. Like Harrison Barnes, for some reason, he doesn't get a lot of love in fantasy, but when he plays, just look at his consistency the last 4 games that they have on his log here. 34 points, 37, 36, 39. You see some really nice minutes of 40, 38, 39. So I like the minutes there for Harrison Barnes. Some injured players on the clock here. Let me go ahead and filter by fantasy points. Jonas Valanciunas is still hanging around here. This one I don't get. He's perfectly healthy. This one really doesn't make sense to me. I'm just going to lock in Jonas here. This one seems like a no-brainer. And then I get another. I only have one other center on my team with Christian Wood, so we'll lock in Jonas there and see who falls. Maybe this is the pick where I get a little bit of some youth on the team. Scotty Barnes should get a lot of run this season. I do like Saddiq Bey, though. Saddiq Bey, he played really well at the end of last year. He could be a guy that takes another step forward. So a lot of times the way I design my fantasy basketball teams is I like to go with consistency and veterans earlier, or young all-star type talents. And then when you get to the later rounds, you're hitting on second and third year players that really haven't broken out quite yet. That's always a fun thing because you get some really nice ceiling upside baked at the back end of your draft. So we have 2 more picks to make here. I'm going to continue to look for some young talent that could help us, just push us over the top. When does Klay? I didn't mean to click on a Linux, but I'm just curious when Klay Thompson is expected to come back. So he will participate in controlled drills when training camp begins next week. As expected, Thompson will be with the team for training camp, but his return to the game action is not expected to come around Christmas Day. So if you want to take a guy like Klay Thompson, and especially if your league has an IR spot, you're going to be able to stash him for a month or two. So hiding in some upside there. And again, with one of your last picks, it's like, who cares? These guys, we're going to be shuffling them all season. So potentially adding, some of these hurt players that you could just stash for a little bit seems to be like a good idea. And as I look around here, we are on the clock. Kuzma with Washington's interesting. You get TJ McConnell here, who McConnell was like, I know Malcolm Brogdon was kind of injured a lot last year, but TJ McConnell, he was the 14th ranked point guard last year. The man just put up tons of assists every now and then. So I like his upside there. Let me just kind of look around. Kelly Olynyk with Detroit. He was a big piece last year. But Kyle Anderson seems to be underrated here. This was a guy that averaged around 30 minutes per game last year and was pretty steady. So I'm just going to lock in the veteran Kyle Anderson. He's dual eligible. And again, the second to last player on my team, like, who really cares at this point? Like, we're probably going to be shuffling these guys up around. So last pick of my draft. So here's the thing. Like, if you want to wait for guys that are injured and coming back at some point in the season, the last pick of the draft, I'm going to take Klay Thompson. I'm going to slide him in my IR, and then I'll rush to the waiver wire and just snag an extra guy and just hold on till Klay returns. So this was a fun mock draft. We'll be pumping out some more of these as we get close. It's October 1st. Basketball doesn't start for another 3 weeks, but it's always a good idea to just mock draft and try a little bit, especially if you know your position. So I'll recap here. We started with Luka, Domantas Sabonis, Jimmy Butler, Chris Middleton, Christian Wood, Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell. I know I got 2 Minnesota guys, but it is sometimes that's just how the draft falls. As long as you don't have like 5 dudes from one team, but usually 2, 3 at the most is okay. Darius Garland, some fun upside there with the young player. PJ Washington, another young player. We got the veteran Jonas Valanciunas, but then some young talent in Sadiq Bey, another veteran Kyle Anderson, and then we get Klay Thompson on the bench. We'll pick up another guy. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. You guys can subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're going to be pumping out a lot more basketball content as the season begins. So thank you guys so much for your time. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.